Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting a company introduction to Imperial Mining Group Ltd, which trades on the TSX.V under the symbol IPG. Joining me today is Imperial's President and CEO, Peter Cashin. Peter, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Pleasure, Megan.
Now, before we get into more details on the company, could you introduce us to the Imperial Mining Group story?
Absolutely. I formed Imperial in 2018 as a result of bringing the scandium property that we have as our flagship and doing an RTO with a gold and base metal explorer in Quebec. So that we have advanced the project now to PEA. We intend to move forward now to the feasibility study level of on the project itself. So I am, by way of background, and I'm a geologist. I've been in the critical minerals sector now since 2008. It's quite specific. I've worked for the likes of Inco and Chevron and Gulf Minerals, so I know the full commodity spectrum. I find that rare earths are by far the most challenging and most enjoyable, actually.
And as you mentioned, Imperial is focused on scandium and rare earth elements with the Crater Lake project in northeastern Quebec. Could you tell us a bit more about this project and what led Imperial to this jurisdiction?
Well, it was I've been in Quebec for, I would say, 80% of my career, so I'm quite familiar with the lay of the land. The Crater Lake project was discovered when I was running Quest Rare Minerals in 2008 to 2015. We made a rare earth discovery that moved the market cap of Quest at the time from $5 million to about $500 million. We made a second discovery, which is now our flagship, the Crater Lake project, and that was in 2014. I brought it with me when I left Quest in 2015, and I used it as a flagship to roll into Imperial. We've now done a lot of work on the project. We've done definition drilling, very large resource, huge upside. We've done a lot of our base work now, and we're ready to move on to more advanced studies. Our PEA shows a really robust return. Internal rate of return about 33%. It's higher now, and 1.72 billion on the NPV at a 10% discount rate. So we've commenced our our environmental baseline study work. So we are moving towards a more advanced development of the project. It's our intention to bring it into production. We are in Quebec. Quebec is very supportive of critical minerals development. They've got lots of good road, rail, air infrastructure. They have the cheapest hydroelectric rates in the world, which is extremely good. And then there's a huge mineral development fund that we're taking advantage of right now to help us mitigate some of the costs of advancing this project. So the project itself is related to a big volcanic crater collapse. The oranges and red colors you see on the image are the favorable horizon. It's a magnetic target. We've traced it around now for about 14 kilometers in strike length. We've focused our development work on the north half of what we call the TG target. What's really important about these projects is it's open pittable, comes to surface. Not only does it have very high rare earth grades, but it also has the magnetic rare earths. So it has an additional value proposition of being able to satisfy both the scandium and the rare earth markets.
And Imperial has released some drill results from Crater Lake. Could you run us through these intercepts?
Yeah, it's basically infill drilling, because we have to move the inferred part of the resource that I illustrated for you earlier into indicated. So it's just basically infill and tightening the drill pattern. This is the first of, I would say, 8 holes that we did this past summer. Basically confirming our belief that the deposit is not only getting richer at depth, but it's also getting quite thicker. So it's going to likely add to the resource situation that we currently have. And really going forward, we planned on doing some deeper drilling to take advantage of and probe some of the deeper, higher grade portions of the deposit itself.
Going forward, how do you see Imperial and Crater Lake being a part of the greater scandium supply chain? And can you comment on where demand is being generated primarily?
Yeah, it's of course, scandium is a critical mineral. It's used as an alloy agent to strengthen aluminum. It increases the strength of aluminum. by as much as 8 times or 800%. So it really has an application for lightweighting. I mean, there's a big drive for reduction of carbon footprint in the transportation industry. We want to get higher, better ranges off our EVs, and one of the better ways to do it is lightening the chassis itself. It's got great application, certainly in the defense sector. The issue right now with defense platforms is they're very heavy and they're starting to exceed the transportation capacity of the planes that bring those platforms to the battlefield. So it really has green moniker, and of course the Quebec green policy is they're very supportive of it. It has EV potential. It has application into fuel cells. As part of our market study, we see some significant growth upside for demand. The issue has been the reliance on China and Russia for what sources that we have, and not a lot of materials currently being developed. Certainly, there's only 35 tons available for world consumption. And we know our partner, our neighbor right next door, has a big manufacturing defense sector that could really do with this material to provide them with strategic opportunities.
Before we let you go, Peter, is there any details or company news flow that you would like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, I think on an earlier slide, we've got a flow chart to recover the scandium and rare earths. It's been patented, so we now have intention to move forward and to pilot and demonstration plant level studies to recover large amounts of scandium and rare earths for testing and marketing purposes. We have the remainder of the drill holes from our summer program, and then of course revising the resource estimate that we'd done last September, all in the indicated and measured category. We've got applications for government grants. How you make this market, Megan, is really through research and development to find new materials and new applications for those materials. And we're doing that. We've attracted about $3 million of R&D capital from the provincial and federal governments here so far, and we've put in for an additional $15 million worth of R&D support to help us move this project forward, and also to mitigate our shareholder risk, and that this is non-dilutive cash that would help us advance the project.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show today.
Yep, my pleasure.